part subtitle, no? Na ay mga text nga gipang feature ninyo. Oo, sige. Kato i-work out para okay kaayo, no? Ang inyong work. Sige, ana lang.
Kayo, miss.
Oo, kay masangoon niya mo sa plagiarism, delikado. Okay. So, very good. Group 4. And so, this morning, we're going to continue with our discussion that we've left and then last time. By the way, for the points earned by your other classmates, kindly post their names or by group to siya and then their scores. No, on our group chat, group 4. Okay, thank you. So, let me present to you this time a slide for our discussion. Okay? So, last time we ended with our discussion with this question. What prompted Spaniards to Magellan himself to take the side of King Manuel of Portugal? So, we've learned that Magellan was a very successful colonizer and at the same time navigator. So he was very famous at the time in Portugal. So one of his achievements was, together with Alfonso de Albuquerque, they conquered Malacca. Diba? Remember? Malacca is the location here in Malaysia at present. No? It is situated in Malaysia. And in here, take note that this is the starting point of the southern and the central trade routes. That up until now, kapon po, manakayan mo o barko, pwede man sa inyo hanga program, siguro, no? Or maka-travel ba mo, kaning southern trade route na totong i-discuss, agianan gihapon ni, no? Sa mga navigators. In particular, they shortened the distance between Europe and Asia, or even other countries in Australia and Oceania. So, mas safe siya, though nagapoy mga pirates, however, naamay mo convoy sa ilaha, no? So, wala ray problema. Kaysa moagi sila diri nga part. Oo. Like, katong route taken by Vasco da Gama, Bartolomeo Diaz, even Pedro Cabral. And that's also the route taken by Francisco Albo, no, in returning back to Spain. So from here, then going to this part. So via southernmost tip of the continent of Africa, then traveling to the west coast of the continent of Africa until they reach Spain. So that's on. Na makabantay mo, September 6 ang nakabutang, most likely ang sa journal, September 8. Nalabi nag-change na siya nga date because of the presence of international dateline. So again, what really happened to Alfonso de Albuquerque and Magellan when they conquered Malacca? They succeeded. So, Alfonso de Albuquerque established the Portuguese colonial policies and Magellan went home. When Magellan arrived in Portugal here, he was given another mission by King Manuel, and that's to establish Portuguese colony in Morocco. So it's right at the southern part of Portugal. Morocco is already part of the continent of Africa. So what happened to Magellan, miss? Magellan succeeded as well. Yes, by the time, he was wounded sa iyang leg. And when he went home, it came to the point that he really needed to amputate his leg. So, after the said amputations of the leg of Magellan, though he contributed a lot of fame because of the fact that he conquered many territories for the glory of King Manuel. With that, still, he was not given another mission in order to conquer another territory. Plus, naidaghang controversies, kaya nasuya lagi ni Magellan. Ay famous mas Magellan na at the time. And another explain si Magellan ato. But it came to the point, since he was not given another mission at all, another projects, no, for a certain conquest and colonization. So he was asking a favor of King Manuel of Portugal, and that's to increase his pension. O kay partially disabled naman si Magellan. Perhaps mao ginay major reason, no, ngano nga dili na siya pa leadon og expedition. So what then? What's the reaction of King Manuel? He did not grant the said favor of Magellan. So of course, if you were Magellan at that time, now you put your life into danger in order to give fame and glory to King Manuel of Portugal, not just once but many times. Yet, kana lang, no, nga dapat ma-experience niya because it's his right. Wala, no? So very disgusted si Magellan, very disappointed. So upon hearing that King Charles I of Spain is searching for a man who could lead his men in reaching to the Orient via westward direction na. Okay? Take note that at that time they already the first of Spain sent first si Christopher Columbus, no, who discovered America. But at the time, he said that it's already Asia. Oo. So it was then concluded by the following, by Amerigo Vespucci, who followed his route at the time. So it's Amerigo Vespucci. There at the chat box, oo, para di masayop sa spelling. So also an Italian navigator. So kalabanan gipang komisyon sa King of Spain na si King Charles I o si King Manuel of Portugal kay mga Italian. So even si Pigafetta mismo, Italian sab na si Pigafetta and Francisco Albo. So another kato si Marco Polo, no, nga well-known nga Venetian trader and merchant who was able to become confidant of Kublai Khan. At that time, very famous si Kublai Khan, na the ruler of Mongol dynasty. And with that, Marco Polo was able to document mga activities nga to, na how rich was the Orient at that time, and he also highlighted in his work that it's really possible that the true shape of the earth is not flat, rather it's round. So usana sa gikuhaan o kanang strength ni Magellan, no, so manang confident kay siya that when he was able to face King Charles I of Spain in going there, he really succeeded, no, kaya na-present po siyang illustration, and with the help of Don Juan de Aranda. Isa man is Don Juan de Aranda is the friend of the father-in-law of Magellan. And at the time, Don Juan de Aranda had a high position of Spanish India House of Trade. So no wonder that with the help of Don Juan de Aranda, Magellan was really able to present himself with illustration. And with that, sa background lang po daan ni Magellan nga nakahatag siya og no, daghan na nga mga achievements, okay, for the glory of King Manuel. So King Charles I didn't really hesitate. That is why he made Magellan as the commander-in-chief, no, even if he came from a rival country at that time. Okay, so confident si King Charles I of Spain. O sige, balik ta. Si Magellan, kinalasan, no, nga gipadala sab ni King Charles I. So again, na si Christopher Columbus, who said that he discovered Asia, but it's America. And it was concluded by Amerigo Vespucci that it's not really Asia, it's Newfoundland. Sa maning nga mga countries na discovered ni Christopher Columbus, maoning Cuba, Okay, the Bahamas archipelago sab siya, no? Archipelagic diri nga part sa Caribbean Sea, but still part ni siya nga mga country sa North America. Then Puerto Rico ug Hispaniola. So dara ang Puerto Rico, and then Dominican Republic and Haiti, no, Hispaniola. So kani nga mga countries na discovered ni Columbus, thinking that it's already Asia. Rather, it's a newfound land, and that's the conclusion of Amerigo Vespucci. No wonder that the name of this continent nakapattern sa first name ni Amerigo Vespucci. Though na Amerika na lang, wala ma-Amerigo. Next, kato sila ni Fernando Cortez, no, Francisco Pizarro. Si Hernando Cortez mao diri sa Mexico, the ones who he was the one who destroyed the Aztec, Mayans and Inca civilization. So mao ni sila ang mga Spaniards, no, commissioned by though kalabanan sa ilaha Italian mas Amerigo ug si Christopher Columbus. But since the said expedition was made under the auspices of King of Spain, so makonsider sila nga side sa Spaniards, no, at that particular time. So with this, no wonder nga wala sila muhunong, no, nangita gid silang passageway pag-traverse nila ni Magellan from this particular ocean. Okay. So again, question, what prompted Ferdinand Magellan to take the side of King Manuel of Portugal? King Manuel of Spain. King Charles the First of Spain. Again, my question was, what prompted Ferdinand Magellan to take the side of King Charles the First of Spain, knowing nga ka-rival sa Portugal ang Spain at that period? Sige day, Bulay, go ahead.
Kay Miss, gi-reject tong iyaha nga request tungod kay sa iyaha nga situation nga nabali iyaha nga legs.
Wala ginabali pangga, naputol.
Ay, naputol.
Iputol, i-amputate.
Sorry Miss, naputol.
Okay. So that's it. Very good. Oo. So that's the main reason now why Magellan took the side of King Charles the First of Spain. Okay. Now, who discovered America? Any volunteer? Again, my question was, who discovered America? At the time, he's thinking that it's already Asia. Let me call on Aurelio. Yes. Si Tudtud ba to? Go ahead, hi, Tudtud.
Christopher Columbus, Miss.
Columbus pangga.
Columbus.
Okay.
Columbus, sorry.
Okay, it's all right. No, si nag-andam gi in town si Aurelio. Si Tudtud to, no? Then, ni answer sab si Aurelio. Okay. So, yes, correct. Next, who concluded that what Columbus had reached was not Asia, rather it's a newfound land? Who concluded that what Columbus had reached was not Asia, rather it's a newfound land?
The Amerigo, Miss.
Okay, very good. Unsay apelido? Quiapo.
Miss.
Yes. The surname of Amerigo?
Vespucci.
Okay. So, abi na ko og Quiapo. Okay, sige. Thank you, Dong. Quiapo. Next. Who destroyed civilizations, ancient civilizations in Mexico? Therefore, he conquered Mexico for Spain. Isa to. Wa na masuwat? Wa ninyo ma-take note? Any volunteer? What about Swan? Yes, Angelou? Who destroyed ancient civilizations in Mexico? Kadali raman to nimo ga istorya,
Okay.
miss. Very good. Kisa to, Aranas. Naminaw gyud sa
Aranas,
Aranas.
eh.
It's Hernando Cortez. Okay. So, yes, that's it. And now let's start. Now with the expedition of Magellan. Though nasa activity, pero ato alang tong i-run through. No, ang iyahang route here. So, if you noticed here, it's on September 20, 1519 na nag-start. But you might wonder, Miss, sa uban nga, labi na secondary sources, September 19. So, it's all because of international dateline na siya. No, nga na-change. Asa ang international dateline na diri sa 180 degrees. However, ugari na ka sa southern hemisphere, dili na siya straight nga line, nor curve. No? So, just like sa prime meridian. Why is that so? It's because that's to avoid people, let's say for example, there is a Kiribati or Kiribati. So, naay eastern hemisphere, naapoy western. Mainly because archipelagic sabni nga country in Oceania. So, to avoid confusion in determining the time, because that's one of the uses of the lines of meridians, or technically called as longitude, ang mag-determine sa time. Oo. So, there are 24 meridians sa global map, so that represents 24 hours. So, every line represent an hour. What's the policy? If you are from west to east, okay, gikan man sa Spain sila. Okay, then traverse here, then reach to Guam, then finally to our country. That's automatic at a day. Yes. No, mo cross ka sa international dateline. So, mo na advance. September 20 na. Pero, if you are from east to west, no, opposite, so that's minus a day if you're going to cross international dateline. So, it's like that. O napunpuhon, makahibaw mo ana, labi na mag-travel mo. No, muari na sa maka-cross mo og international dateline. So, that is why it's September 20. No, do not be confused. So, from Guadalquivir River, Sanlúcar de Barrameda, Spain, Magellan, with these 5 ships no, under the banner Spanish Armada de Molucca with 270 crews on board, and he's the only Portuguese at that time. Now who became the commander-in-chief of the 5 ships. So they started sailing to the west coast of the continent of Africa, then cross Atlantic Ocean and reach here. This is part of the Treaty of Tordesillas. Did I mention that last time? Ang Treaty of Tordesillas? Wala. Wala ba na siya ma-appeal?
Wala pa, Miss.
Wala. Sige, sige. Ato ang i-discuss, no? Unsay ko ana niya, Miss, relevance. So, in 1494, di ba, I told you that prior to the expedition of Magellan, and that even when he was still an ally to King Manuel of Portugal, he was not the first not to sail to the other parts of the world. Okay. So, with that, there were already explorers sent by King Manuel of Portugal and King Charles I of Spain. As superpower countries in the field of exploration, no, navigation at the time, Pope Alexander VI, no, head sa church at the time, issued a papal bull in 1494 concerning the division of the world into two, no, the New World. May salag New World kay first time pa man nga mag-explore. Oo. Kay ang ancient maps, alabi na katong TNO, ang na-feature kay Kuanraman, Europe, Africa, and Asia. Oo. Ngano nga katura nga continents? Kay wala pa man nila ma-explore diri sa western part. It was was then started katunang sa Age of Exploration. So, since both are Roman Catholic countries, Pope Alexander VI issued that bull in order to avoid conflict between Spain and Portugal. So, mo nang naay demarcation line. So, starting here, it says, ang pinaka-importante nga provision of this treaty by the way is an agreement. Agreement with whom? Portuguese and Spaniards. So, whatever lands that are going to discover in western part of the hemisphere here, or starting from this demarcation line set now by Pope Alexander VI, it should be turned over to Spaniards. So no wonder in the history of North and South American continents, almost all countries here were once colonized by Spaniards. No, except sa South America, specifically ang Brazil. Oo. Though, makita niyo diri, nga gamay ra gyud unta nga part sa Brazil, kay Brazil is the largest country man in South America in terms of land area. So, but Portuguese at the time really claimed that the entire country na mga ilahang colony. So, no wonder nga ang Spaniards, o pintahay, ingon sila, nga sila nakadiscover sa Philippines, though it should be called as rediscovery. Oo, anong rediscovery? Because our early ancestors at the time had been trading already with Arabs, Indians, Chinese, and Japanese. Di ba? Up until now, oo, naagihapon. So, ibaws na sila sa mga Portuguese. Because whatever lands that are going to discovered sa eastern part, right side na aning demarcation line, must be turned over also to the Portuguese. Oo niya, waman may paludaan, waman may apaydaan ang Portuguese, so ni Baus ang mga Spaniards. No wonder that when they cross to this line here, diba, balik na diri nga mapa, wala sila ni anchor, diri ang 5 ships. So, badong sila si diri sa ubos, which is not part of the Portuguese colony at that time. Oo. Wala na diha ang mga Portuguese. But they had it in a short period of time. So until they're really searching for a particular water form wherein they could traverse in reaching to the Orient. Because it's our common knowledge already that once they cross this ocean here, di pag yun ni maunga, ilang gipangita nga Asia, kaninga landmass. Based on the experiences of previous explorers, sent by King Charles I. And what really happened? In going down to the southernmost tip of the continent of America, South America, there was this mutiny broke out. And how did Magellan handle it? He ordered the execution of the leaders, and those who resisted in arresting, then they were executed as well. Ang kato ni surrender dayon, pardon rapod ni Magellan. Oo. Why was there a mutiny? It's because, just imagine, at the time, nabisag gamay kaayo ang Portugal, pero equally, superpower country with Spaniards. Or there you have Spain. So, as rival country, coming from rival country, and the fact nga siya mo oy leader pagyud overall, commander-in-chief of the 5 ships. So wala gyud salig ang mga Spaniards ni Magellan. So that is why they planned, tatandog ang ego po sa mga Spaniards, ilahang attempt, nga patyo nila si Magellan. But they did not succeed. So they continued in their travel until that San Antonio deserted to Spain. They balik sa Spain. And another, when they reached to this part here sa Puerto San Julian, San Antonio was wrecked. Santiago rather. Ang San Antonio nibalik sa Spain. Santiago na wrecked. Oo. Ano man, miss? They were struck by a particular typhoon. And with that, then, puslot ang Santiago og nalunod. So, tulo na lang ka ships. Diyon sa man to nga ships ang nahabilin. What were the 3 ships left at the time which succeeded in looking into Strait of Magellan or that particular passageway? And until, yes, at present it's called as Magellan's Strait. Strait, no? Strait of Magellan. And then they're able to cross Pacific Ocean. Sige, kinsay mo answer, Ana, ron. What were the 3 ships left at the time? Yes, Aritani. I'm sorry, natawag to si Swan ganina, no? Sige, go ahead. Ibanez. Wanay appeal ang pirmero dong. Yes, Ibanez, you speak out now. Dong, Ibanez?
Victoria, ma'am. Concepcion.
Okay, what else?
Victoria, Concepcion of Santiago.
Ang Santiago, wala na. Kay
wala
mauna
na.
ang nalunod.
Mm-hmm.
Unsa to isa?
Trinidad.
Very
Oh.
good. Si Patalinghog. Okay. Sakto ba, Day? Patalinghog?
Yes, miss.
Okay. Correct. That's it. So again, the 3 ships left at the time were Concepcion, Trinidad, and Victoria. Okay. Again, what happened to San Antonio? Deserted to Spain. No? So returned back to Spain. Then Santiago na-wrecked because of the typhoon. And let's continue the expedition of Magellan. On October, 21, 15, 20 here, they found almost, actually for historians, they believe it's 1 year. Ang uban, maingon, it's more than 1 year. So just imagine, kung sa kadugay. Ikan diri sa Sanlúcar de Paramida, Spain, that until the time they found out the so-called Strait of Magellan. And they started traversing this particular strait and about to start crossing Pacific Ocean on November 28, if I'm not mistaken, 1520. And at the time, even si Magellan, no? Siya mismo, medyo nakulbaan po si Magellan. Ngano? Even if in the account of Marco Polo, that he said that it's really possible that the true shape of the earth was not flat, rather it's round. So Magellan was thinking that if they're going to continue sailing here, all of them will die. Now their ships will fall. And so they will say goodbye to the world. And as they continue, they were actually surprised. And that one had changed their belief, no, starting at that time, that the world was not flat, rather it's round. Yes, because they succeeded, no, in crossing Pacific Ocean and they did not fall. And you know what? Magellan was really disdained, no, to really cross together with his men, cross Pacific Ocean. And it says that it took 99 days for them to traverse Pacific Ocean, no, from the Strait of Magellan in reaching Ladrones Islands, or it's part of Mariana Islands, no, at present, specifically sa Guam. With that, it's really, though they were not struck by a particular typhoon. So it's really amazing. It's a miracle. Disdain dito sila. It must have been fate to the group of Magellan that they really succeeded. in reaching the Orient. So via cruising Pacific Ocean. And it's Magellan who gave the name to that ocean. Because when they crossed Pacific Ocean at that time, it was so calm. It was so quiet. Yes. So, dili gud turbulent, dili rough ang water. That at present, okay, or succeeding centuries, nahibaw-an nila nga grabe ka-turbulent ang water. No, up until now. So, mahibaw-an na to nga, diha magikan gani ang bagyo. Labi na sa location, asa nga part, okay, here. Turning 10 to 14 degrees north and south of the equator. This is the equator. Naa diha ang trade winds. So usapot ni sa nakapatabang sa ships nilang Magellan nga nipadung gid sila sa ubos. Oo. So ang circulation no sa trade winds. O na nga windy jud kay na nga part kana nga coordinates. Plus Arikas 23.5 to 30 degrees. So, let's say, ari sa northern hemisphere, from Tropic of Cancer, then to 30 degrees. Then here, sa southern hemisphere, Tropic of Capricorn to 30 degrees. Diha mag-abot ang bugnaw ug ang init. So, mao na nga, ana mo create ang bagyo. No, that's what I've read from World Geography books, and that even I asked my colleague sa Maritime Department kana sa ProofEd. Ako ang mga NSA students sa ilang experience pag apprentice nila, mabalik man sila under na ako pag fourth year. Under sila na ako first year, then nagbalik nila after sa ilahang 1 year nga apprenticeship, under na po sila na ako. And even my brother-in-law and my younger brother. No? So, ako asang mga relatives, perti good ding karaf ang water diri. That, according to my brother, nga nakasakay siya international vessel, luxury vessel to niya, Japanese, no? Ang owner, ato sa shipping company, iyahang sakyan kay luxury vessel, and then ang mga passengers kalabanan royal blood from European continent. Then ni-traverse sila aning southern trade route padung sa Australia. This part here, di ba, Tropic of Capricorn na, very rough yun ang water. And you know what? Even 13th floor pa, no, nga ship ang ihang nasakyan at that time, lapas pa sa 13th floor sa barko, no, ang tubig. So just imagine, unsa siya ka-rough, no, ang water din na. All the more, og na ay mga intervening factors, no, external factors like night typhoon. No wonder nga nalunod yun ang Santiago, labi na diri nga part, no, sa Puerto San Julian. And with this, what happened to the passengers? Ipang rescue, no? Balik ta sa katong luxury vessel nga nasakyan sa ako ang manghod before. And with this situation, no wonder nga even naapay on board nga nurse o doctor nag-iintay na matay, no, at that time. So musamot og na ay typhoon, and that even katong NSA sa una nga namatay gyud in town kay na miscalculate ang ilahang cargo kay og ari ka sa temperate region niya na may chemicals nga mo double ang weight niya ug maadto na sa tropical region ay labi na mo init. So kailang disturbances sa water, wala jud makabawi ang barko og nalunod. Na naka-survive nila ang chief cook nila, no, maoy naka-survive. The rest wala na gyud ma-rescue when they cross this part here. Oo. So diri very rough. Pero si Magellan wala, naka-survive sila. Oo. Pero 19 of them died because of scurvy. Noon sa mga scurvy nga disease, lack of vitamin C nga mag-crack ang ilahang gums. no, dry ang ilahang gums. Why? Because they already ate rotten foods. No, diri na ilang pagkaon, gikaon gihapon, even rats, ilang gikaon, and other secondary sources said they also practice cannibalism. So inana sila just to give glory to King Charles the First of Spain. So that one, it's not easy, no, nga mag-traverse silang Magellan. That is why when they reach here, ari sa Guam, no, makita ninyo, one of their ships was stolen by the natives. Why? Ano kahamo naghihingalan og Ladrones Islands. Ladrones, I mean in English, means nganla ni Magellan ana. So knowing that when they reached there, okay, though Magellan gave them mirrors, trinkets, even poems, no, and other things that they brought at the time, still for the natives in Guam, it's not enough. So first time po nila nakakita ato nga galyon, no, nga dako-dako gyud. Oo, compared sa ato ang ship at that time. Boat man ato, sailboat nya o kuan da sa Mindanao, Vinta, no, Kalapanan. So mao na mga paka sa pagakon nga magbihayan baron diha sa may Ulanggo, kundili pwede ato sa Daan Bantayan. Oo. So dili ka na mga ferry boat na nato, dili. Okay. So with this, fighting broke out. And take note the situation of the subordinates of Magellan at that time. They were weak. Many were suffering from hunger and starvation. So if Magellan will continue that one, that fight with the natives there in Guam, there's a possibility that all their ships will all to Spain. So that is why they decided, as leader, Magellan decided to go to the Neck Island, which is at the time, asa naman sila? So despite to the so-called Samar. So a week later, no, so 1 week na travel time nila from Guam to Samar, Philippines. And when they reached there in Samar, they were able to feast on bananas and coconuts. So, this time, kanintaon, tambalan nilang kagutom. And they were able to, there's natives in Samar because of Enrique de Malacca, the Malayan slave who acted as translator of Magellan. Again, the name is Enrique de Malacca. Okay, here at that chat box. So again, who was the translator or interpreter of Magellan? Any volunteer?
Enrique de Malacca.
Enrique de Malacca.
Enrique de Malacca.
Was it you? Istardo? Okay.
That's me.
Correct. Oo. So daghan to nito bagbot, si Bulay, Apilpot.
Salundagit, miss.
Oh, Salundagit sab. Correct. Okay. Yes, oo. Noted. Yes, oo. So, siya ang interpreter. No wonder, di ba, remember, Malacca was once conquered by Portuguese, in particular Magellan himself. And so, thinking that it's possible that their languages are spoken by the people in the Orient because they knew already that it's part of the Orient. However, at the time when Alfonso de Albuquerque and Magellan conquered Malacca, they didn't know yet that it's part of Spice Islands. Nga ilahag yung gipangita. So, thinking nga naa sa Philippines, mo na nga ilahara po itong gi-give up tong uban nga places. Oo, nga na-discovered kintahay sa mga Spaniards to Portuguese. Oo. But, when Magellan arrived in the country, naana po di ay mga Portuguese. So later, ito mahibawan. How did Portuguese, what did they do to the natives? So let's continue here. On March 16, 1521, there was a highland named Zamal that was sighted by the Magellan's expedition, which was some 3,000 leagues westward of the Ladrones Island. The following day, they landed on an uninhabited island, or known as Humuno, or Humunuon at present, which Pigafetta referred to as watering place of good signs. Why? Because the place is abundant in gold. And take note, this is one of their aims. And they knew about this because this was one of the precious stones exchanged katong sa barter system bitaw, no? Sa knowing that trade route, that early trade routes so started even sa 1st century pa lang. At that time, daghan na gyud nakaabot sa Orient, nga nakaibaw sila nga very rich nga to gold. So, it's a good sign, no, for Spaniards at that period. And that location lays right at Zamal at 10 degrees. Ang Zamal, mauning Samar sa present. 10 degrees north latitude, and then they stay there 8 days from March 17 to 25. But on March 25, they already started traveling downward. So, they left the island of Bumonhon and changed route towards west-southwest between 4 islands, namely Sinalo, Hinanguan, Ipuson, and Albarin. Afterwards, they sail westward towards Leyte, then follow the Leyte, coast southward passing between the island of Ipuson on their port side. When we speak of port side, we're talking of the left side of their ship. And then Hinangan Bay on their starboard side. Starboard is at the right side. And then continue southward, returning westward to Mazawa. And on March 28, 1521, there is an island lies on a latitude of 9 and 2/3 degrees, kulangag degrees, now towards the Arctic Pole, and in a longitude of 162 degrees from the line of demarcation. It is named as Mazawa, which is 25 leagues from the Aquada. Now, I would like you, you drop your answer of finding the coordinates, coordinates of Limasawa Island, Southern Leyte, and Masao, Butuan, Agusan del Norte. Okay, you search it now. Again, you search the coordinates